Hello, everyone. Welcome to Feedstuffs 365. I'm Sarah Muirhead. Seems like so many things these days are virtual, from virtual communication platforms, virtual doctor's appointments, and now virtual fencing for cattle. Joining us to talk about that is Craig Piggott, CEO of Halter, a virtual fencing company based in New Zealand. Welcome, Craig. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me, Sarah.
For those of you that are tuning in, we want to thank you for being with us. If you have any questions for Craig, please post those there in the chat area on the right of your screen. If you're joining us from social media, post your questions directly in those channels. So let's have you start, Craig, by telling us a bit about your background.
Cool. So I'm a Kiwi. You can probably hear it in the accent. So born and bred here in New Zealand. My parents have been dairy farmers for my whole life, and so grew up on a dairy farm. I'm an engineer by background or by training, and then after working at a rocket satellite launch company called Rocket Lab, I left Rocket Lab to start Halter in 2016. So it's been about an 8-year journey so far at Halter.
So Halter, what is Halter all about, and what makes it unique?
So Halter is, in the simplest sense, it's two things. So there's a collar that goes on a cow or on cattle, and then there's an app on your phone, and you use that app to drive the product. And so we say virtual fencing or remote shifting. Effectively, we're able to train these cows to respond to cues. And then we're able to fence and shift these animals around a farm. So, you can effortlessly rotational graze, you save labor, you can be a lot more precise. There's kind of a whole lot of benefits that come out of a system like this.
So, I mean, virtual fencing's been available in the US for a few years, but for those that are new to virtual fencing, explain how the technology works and of course the benefits that virtual fencing can bring to a US cattle rancher. What makes Halter unique, and how does this work?
Yeah, so virtual fencing as a category isn't necessarily new. It's only recently become, you could say, like, possible. There's a lot of underlying technologies that are very difficult to get right, and to get right 24/7, every day of the year, which is what you want when you're running, a farm, and so, or a ranch. And so I'd say Halter, like, we've spent years perfecting the product. We are the largest virtual fencing company globally, and every day we've been able to get this product to the point where it really works no matter your system, no matter your goals. We're able to perfectly and effortlessly execute kind of whatever you're trying to achieve on farm. And so typically that's going to be around, like, trying to reduce the amount of workload and the cost of labor, trying to reduce the time you spend maintaining or fixing fences, being able to perfectly graze and allocate the pasture that's on your land. So ultimately you can run more stock, or you're able to lift the productivity of that land. So yeah, that's kind of the core way to think about it. And it's just something which over the years, like, it's our sole purpose, right? We exist to build this product. We're not trying to do a whole lot of other things at the same time. And so we've been able to get, frankly, pretty good at it, as that's our sole goal.
So you've been marketing in New Zealand for quite a while, and pasture management is a very key production practice there. What insights have you learned from your years of experience in New Zealand that you're bringing now to U.S. ranchers?
Yeah, good question. I think the main learning for us, across New Zealand and Australia, has been just how much more you can get out of your land. I think when you've watched or you've farmed a piece of land for generations, it's easy to think, oh, well, this land can only produce X amount. That's all it's ever done year on year for the past 50, 100 years. And when you actually break it down to the first principles of growing grass and managing that land, I think we've been surprised, and a lot of farmers have been surprised, how much more they are able to get out of that land and lift that productivity. So I think that's a lot of little learnings have kind of flowed into that. And so that's what we're excited about as we enter the US, is just seeing how much more we can get out of people's land, and how much more grass and pasture we can grow. That's like, aside from buying a bigger piece of land, that's the next best thing you can do, right? Is get more out of the land that you have. And if we are, fencing every day and allocating those pastures, then that is like one of the best ways that we can achieve this.
So you're getting more out of the land. That also means a sustainability story is part of this equation.
Yes, for sure. Doing more with less, obviously, is kind of the goal. No matter what axis you're working across, right? That can be cost, that can be sustainability, that can be productivity. So for sure, I think the more we're able to provide, we call it like positive sum innovation. If we're able to provide a product or a feature that gains or lifts the performance in one area without taking it from somewhere else, then that's innovation, right? Like, innovation isn't building cool technology because we like to build cool technology. That doesn't matter. Like, you only build cool technology because it has a purpose for a rancher or for a producer or for an end user. And so, if you're able to achieve this like positive sum dynamic, then that's innovation as far as we're concerned.
Now, you entered the U.S. market during this past year, correct?
Yes, correct. In August.
So how's it gone? I mean, how many users? Have things gone pretty well, or is it progressing for you? What's been your initial kind of startup here in the U.S.?
Yeah, it's been exciting. We've been actually really surprised by the level of like awareness for virtual fencing, and just how interested ranchers are and producers are in adopting the technology. So that's been really cool to see. And across almost every state, it's hard to almost like isolate down to a few pockets. It is very broad. So no, I'd say overall we're excited. We've been trying to hire out a local team. I think the team now in the US, the Halter team in the US, is maybe just crossed over 10 or 12 people, and we've got a lot of roles open. So we're hiring out a team, and been deploying customers. We now have ranches across maybe almost 8 or 10 different states. So there's a lot of momentum. The product so far seems to really be doing what we hoped. There's a few challenges. The land over there is a lot bigger, so making sure we're continuing to improve the product and increase range and things like that. But yeah, so far so good. We're excited.
Well, that's good. That's great. What about key insights that you've kind of picked up on here as you've entered the U.S. market? Anything that, I mean, you mentioned distance and size, but anything else that really surprised you, and any kind of challenges that you've really kind of had to overcome that maybe you weren't expecting, or maybe you were and you were, adjusted to as you got here?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. So we're a Delaware C Corp. We've been a US company for 7 of those 8 years. Our investors are US based. So the US isn't, although we've just turned up to start selling the product, we've been heavily involved with the United States for a long time. And so I think there's been a lot of things that haven't been a surprise. We were we've spent enough time there to understand, but I think we're still amazed by the diversity of systems and operations. So every time you go to a different ranch or a different state, and you learn about the unique challenges with the land or the weather or the terrain or getting labor or whatever it is. So I think we're still learning with that, and we always try and be eyes open and just listen to our customers. One of the best things about Halter is we're able to upgrade the software on the collar every week or every day if we wanted to, and so that enables us just to really listen and understand, and then make these changes pretty quick. So we're still doing that. I'm sure we'll keep learning a lot over the next year, but so far it's been pretty good. Aside from like I mentioned before, range, which is not a difficult thing at all. We're working on that, and it'll keep getting better and better. That's really the biggest difference. The rest of it's been great, and working with US ranchers has been a lot of fun.
Is weather an issue at all? Like if you get in a snowstorm, or do you get into any of those kinds of issues where it only works in certain regions because of, say, the environment?
Not, it's not a huge barrier. And I guess like in New Zealand and Australia, we have similar, in New Zealand, we have blizzards and snowstorms and flooding and all of the above. So I think anywhere you grow grass or you have cows outside or cattle outside, you're going to have to deal with these elements. So I think we've kind of always designed that in from the beginning. So not a huge issue. There's obviously like, if you go, further north, these times that the land's 6 foot under snow but also in those times you're typically not trying to graze cattle outside. So no, weather's that's probably been not too bad. And it's something which now we've been doing this for, like I say, Halter's been around for 8 years. We're on over 250,000 head of cattle. So I think a lot of these things we've managed to really work out, and now the product's in a great spot. It really just does what it says on the tin. It's effortless to use, and the customers are enjoying it.
Are the other collars, are they reusable between different animals as you restock?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, for sure. So they're very easy to, we call it like tagging on, much like you would put an ear tag in. A rancher with their phone can just scan a collar and then put it on a cow. And if they take it off a cow, they can scan it and put it on another cow. And yeah, it's like, that's a 10-second job to change. So
they don't do the cows, are they able to get them off?
Not by themselves, which is
okay.
Which is good. They have like safety break points if they get caught on, I don't know, a tree or something like that. But that's relatively uncommon. Like that's they have to be applying a lot of force to trigger that break point. So no, like if you're obviously a rancher or a farmer and you put these collars on, the last thing you want is them coming off, or the last thing you want is you having to service them or charge them or touch them for any reason. Like it's just, that becomes very impractical very quickly, and it's just not a great experience. Like, technology when it's done well should feel like magic. You should put it on once and just forget about it. Like you don't need to touch it. With Halter, they're solar powered, so they just work. The collars train the cows. We handle all the complexity in the background, and as a farmer, you tap a few buttons and things happen. And so I think that's what a product should feel like. It shouldn't feel like you have to have an IT degree and you're out there every day like having to adjust and touch these collars. It's not what ranching's about.
So for anybody who's interested, where's the best place to go to get information on virtual fencing or to find out more about Halter?
Yeah, probably the best place is just our website, halterhq.com. Or if you just Google Halter, you'll find us. And then, like I say, we've been hiring a team in the US. We have people across a whole lot of states now. So if you get in contact with us, then we'll reach out and find out if it's a good fit for your operation. And if anything, we also just love learning about different operations and how people are running their land and their ranches. And so, we're super excited to come to the US. We've spent a long time trying to get the product to really be perfect and to do what it says on the tin before, expanding into new markets. And so we're excited to do that and really like see the benefits that we're seeing across New Zealand and Australia now in the US.
Final thoughts, key takeaways to leave our listeners here with today?
Just the general excitement, excited to be in the US. Like I say, we're a US company. We've been working, had relationships into the US for the last however many years. And I think now that we can bring the product there and the benefits and the value that it's been providing to New Zealand and Australia ranchers, we're really excited to see that in the US, and especially with the history and and the stories that are there. We're pretty excited to finally be there.
Very good. Craig Piggott, CEO of Halter. Thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing this technology with us.
Thank you, Sarah.
We want to thank you as well for tuning in. We appreciate you giving us a little bit of your day. Until next time, for Feedstuffs 365, I'm Sarah Muirhead.